really guided me in knowing what paths I want to take.
When I think of Grace, I think really a focused community of people who are seeking to understand who God is and what God is doing in their lives and in the world.
My degree at Grace Christian University has opened doors for me. There was a position that I really wanted, but I didn't have the degree, and so I couldn't even apply for the position. And by pursuing my degree and obtaining my degree, I was able to get a promotion and step into a position that I really wanted.
For where I was in life with being a father, being a full-time pastor at a church, being a husband, it just fit much better for me to be able to do this online.
Your professors too, people walk in their classrooms all the time just to talk before lunch or something, and they're always there, and so it feels really welcoming.
What I would say to those looking to take their degree path is to really seek out Grace Christian University, and you'll definitely find that it's the best.
We use that video online tool as a recruitment tool, and it is effective. It's great. Caroline, thank you so very much for your violin playing. I really love it. Thank you very much. On behalf of the advancement team, I want to say thank you from the deepest part of my heart for each one that's here tonight. Appreciate it. Thank you again. Hey, I want to know, do we have any MSU fans in the house? Go Green. Do we have any Grace Christian University fans in the house? Now, do we have any Minnesota Viking fans in the house? Can I get a little chant? Skol Vikings. I'll try it again. Skol Vikings, skol. Okay, how many was that? Okay, sorry about that. Man, Kurt is going to be so disappointed. I've been a Minnesota Viking fan for 45 years, and today or tonight is like Christmas morning times 8. See what I did there with the 8? Is got a number 8? Okay. Hey, thank you all for being at the event. I really do appreciate it. This is exciting. I better get back on script or my people will have a problem. It is truly my privilege to introduce a man of God who aligns his life with his mission. For the past 16 years, Dr. Kenneth Bruce Kemper has served as president of Grace Christian University. Under President Ken's leadership, Grace has become recognized as one of the fastest growing universities in the nation. With over 500% growth in just the last 10 years. President Ken and Grace University have become nationally recognized with significant influence. For the past 2 years, he has served as on the board of directors as chairman of the Association for Biblical Higher Education. In 2018, he has taken on a leadership role with the board of directors of the National Christian College Athletic Association. President Ken and Kathy, his wife of 34 years, served on the mission field in East Africa for 17 years. Please welcome President Ken Kemper.
I always love that when you have a good introduction. It's like everything else is a letdown. So thanks, Steve, for building this up so we can fall. Thank you for coming here tonight. I want to start by thanking our advancement team, Steve Gowdy, Amy Walker, Emily Brown, and Julie Priolo. An event like this does not happen with a lot of preparation and training and coordination. So let's thank them. Thank you very much. This is a special evening, and I thank you that you're here, and some of you were able already to have a photo op and to shake hands with Kirk Cousins, and just sense that there's a testimony and there's an alignment of our mission and what Kurt believes and lives as well. So I'm going to start tonight with just a short video which introduces us to a very exciting project. So let's go with that video, and then I will elaborate after that.
Nothing important is ever done easy, so it takes a lot of time, talent, and treasure. But it's a great investment, and it's a great investment I'll never regret being part of.
I love the way that the campus feels like a family, that we're here for each other and for the students, and that it's not just a job to come to, it's a place where everyone really wants to be and is invested in.
Our core values are so vital to who we are. I picture them as pillars or 4 places that we build our foundation on. I get it, that we're not changing the who we are and who we were and who we will be in that fashion. We're changing our methods and our impact and our ability to change how we impact a culture around us.
By expanding in all of those areas, the dining hall and the different facilities, that just offers more opportunities for students to come and enjoy this Grace experience. Because Grace truly has an amazing culture, a culture of love and kindness and welcoming type culture that I feel like more people need to know about, more people need to have the opportunity to be here.
When I read the mission statement, graduating godly individuals prepared to serve Christ in church and society, I knew I had found my home. So God had created a position for me here at Grace, and I'm so excited to be able to help the enrollment office.
I think what I like most about this university is the intentionality behind our professors and how much they're willing to invest in our future opportunities and current opportunities.
As my children are attending Grace currently, to just imagine what my grandchildren, what this next generation can look like, that we'll have a tremendous impact on this community, but also in and through the world.
The Capital Campaign, with its various facets, is going to be significant in its impact for Grace Christian University. When we talk about student housing, the fact is that we don't have enough student housing.
I think the changes that we'll see take place throughout this campaign are essential for what Grace will be to students in the marketplace in the future. I think the renovations to technology, programs, even our facilities here make us more competitive in the market as students are looking at different universities for choice.
I'm looking forward to this capital campaign. It's challenging, yet it's manageable. I think we can get to the $4 million and beyond. We encourage everyone to contribute to the program. You'll see some changes, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what God has for this university.
This is the most exciting time to be at Grace Christian University. We just brought in our largest freshman class in years. We are hiring new faculty all the time. We're expanding our programs and concentrations. There is so much excitement in the air, you can feel it. I am so excited to see a capital campaign help build our resources, help build our facilities to match these needs that we're seeing all across campus.
Just a picture and a glimpse of faces and the campus from that video, but I hope that you can see from viewing this video that what we're doing tonight is we are publicly announcing our Expanding Grace Capital Campaign, and tonight we want to show or explain to you the incredible way that God is blessing the ministry which we call Grace Christian University. So let me just answer the questions this way. What are we actually doing? We're meeting a need. In other words, if you look at it and you saw this video, you see something a little bit different than you do at a capital campaign announcement, is you find that Grace has a long 80-year history, and yet in the recent history which we find ourselves now, God is blessing us in incredible ways with growth and abundance. Contrasted with the reality that I have every month notices of other Christian or private educational institutions who are closing their doors for lack of students and lack of resources. For some reason, God is doing something, and we fully give credit that God is doing it. God has grown our student enrollment from 207 in the year 2010 to 399 on-campus students today and over 600 online students. More than 1,200 students took classes at Grace Christian University last year. In the 8 years, we have grown from 200 to 1,200. That is a work of God, and we thank Him for it. So we find ourselves in an answer to a problem being the solution because God has created a problem of space for us. We have students who desire to be educated, and we desire to give them a good education. So today we're witnessing this seismic shift in our American culture, which you're aware of. You simply watch the news, if you read the media, where this American culture and its affiliation or its predominant Christian feel and church affiliation is becoming increasingly countercultural if you're a follower of Jesus Christ. Grace Christian Unity and Grace Christian University, in fact, finds itself increasingly not representative of the culture that we live in. Now, I think we're blessed in West Michigan that we are kind of a conservative bastion of what America was, and we're very blessed by that. And we thank God for leaders who exemplify those attitudes. And the reason we have someone like Kirk Cousin coming tonight, he's a product of that, a family who raised him, a community that also believes in high values and Christian values, and that aligns with who we are at Grace Christian University. We have young people who are struggling with becoming who they are, their identity, forming good relationships. Even the upcoming generations have been told they're more immature than other generations. So there's a longing for answers. And so the solution, we believe, as Grace Christian University, is that we have answers, not because of who we are, but because of who we believe and what He's given us in God's Word. Amen? And therefore, our solution to the problem of why God is growing us and what we do more is that we want to open our arms wider to the family and say, God has the answers. We'd like to give you the specific answers to society's problems and why things are the way they are, and the identity issues, and the baffling self-identity questions, so that God can define for you what it means to be a follower of Jesus Christ. So we have a family that has real answers to the real issues, rather than the inadequate fluff and sociological answers that are given that are more philosophical than biblical. And you know, young people, and I guess in another sense we all, are a lot like sponges in that we absorb what we're immersed into. And then when we're squeezed out later, that's what comes out of us. And so our young people, if they're put in a family that's embracing and brings them in and loves them and gives them real answers to real issues in our society, they go forth and they serve Christ wherever God puts them, and they give forth those answers. Now, the reverse is also true. If they go to institutions where they absorb the yuck and the liberalism of the day, when they're squeezed out, that's what comes out. And that sets a course for our country in the years to come. You see, our graduates are receiving the answers from God's Word, from Christian leaders, so that our graduates are serving around the world in Christian organizations, right here in Grand Rapids, in secular and Christian educational institutions, in private Christian health organizations. They're multiplying the impact of the gospel because they're students who learn it, have answers, and they continue to give it for the rest of their life. So then I ask the next question, why this solution? Why is this best? You see, it's best because Grace is a student-centered place that believes young people should be the center of our attention for the church of today and for the church of tomorrow. We need to be welcoming and loving and embracing, and yet giving answers which need to be not only learned and understood, but lived out in practice. You see, this is what makes us countercultural as well, is not only do we believe the book is true from cover to cover, including the maps, but we believe that it's relevant for practice today. And that makes us very different than a lot of culture and a lot of individuals. And it is the answers which people can have confidence in, and they can live the Christian life. So our student-led small groups, chapels, classes, ministry trips, sports, all of these things are the integration of faith into everyday practice, which makes Grace Christian University distinct and powerful. You see, this country, or this contrast to many other institutions where they have become liberal to the point where if you stand up for Christ, you're told that your values are hate speech, or they're unpopular, or they're narrow, or they're unscholarly. And in reality, they're God's answers to today's questions, and we should stand for them unwavering and boldly. So then I ask the question, well, why now? I think you've seen some of the answers to that. It is a timely issue, and it is urgent. You see, the present cultural wave is making Grace Christian University more unique than ever before because of what's happening around us. Ephesians 5:16 says, we are to make the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. We offer a clear alternative to the sexual orientation and gender identity confusion sweeping our nation, with biblical answers spoke with love and compassion. We have a record number of deposits of incoming students for this coming fall that should make this the largest incoming class in the history of Grace Christian University this year. Why is there a longing for specific biblical answers in a society that's adrift with ideologies? Because they make sense. Because God is uncompromising in his truth and uncompromising in his character, and he desires that that be lived out in a society that absolutely needs to hear that truth. When you talk about graduation, our present rate of graduating students, if you bear with me here, going back to 2015, we had our largest graduating class of 129 students. Through this year, we'll have our largest graduating class 2 weeks from today, tomorrow actually, we'll graduate 195. We've never graduated 195 before in our history. At the rate at which we're growing our graduating class, we're in the midst of 10 years where we will graduate 2,000 students, more students in the 10-year period than we have graduated in our 75-year history prior to those 10 years. That is amazing. So what are we doing about it? We're trusting God, and we prayerfully considered what's our first step to be able to open our arms wider, to be able to allow more students to come, to be able to house and educate and add professors and programs and facilities. So we must remodel and upgrade our facilities, which were built, most of them, close to 60 years ago. We need to help students to have scholarships, which could never afford private Christian education. Our dining room and kitchen facilities are outdated. They must be expanded to accommodate the growth. You know, in the Bible, to break bread together is a very important term about community, isn't it? Well, at Grace, often breaking bread has to do with hamburgers and tacos and pizza and maybe some stir fry, but it's still community together around the table, sharing food, talking about life, and building a oneness of community. Our dining facility is going to be expanded to accommodate an additional 50 seats for students. Our technologies need to continue to upgrade as we have around the world students studying online. Our dormitories need to be upgraded, which were built in 1961. In fact, God is already in the business of orchestrating this plan. In the last 2 years, we have purchased 4 houses directly across from our academic building, which God has miraculously supplied. As we prayed, God, can we get these pieces of land? You know, they have owners. They have people that live in them. God had to move them and give us this property. So we have 4 houses, which would house 6 students each, 24 houses. We have now developed plans to build on that piece of land a 3-story townhouse apartment building that would house 90 to 100 students. Just do the math. That opens the doors and says, here's a community where you can come and be a Christ follower and 24/7 live with other followers of Christ who also desire to serve Christ in the marketplace. And at Grace, we practice intentional community, impacting students, and especially those who live 24/7 on campus. So tonight, this is the announcement that we ask for prayerful and generous response as we publicly show you that we are engaged in a 3-year, $4 million Expanding Grace capital campaign. But I want to say something to you. God has already been working in the hearts of individuals before we ever come to you and talk to you about this campaign. Because all 100% of our board of directors have made gracious commitments already. All of our administrators at the institution have already made commitments in our giving. All of the leaders at the dean level and other levels have already made commitments in our giving. All of the members of the Capital Campaign Committee have pledged and begun giving. So I'm excited to tell you this week that as of this week, we have in excess of $2.6 million towards our $4 million goal that has already been pledged. That's praise to God that people have said this is important and it's urgent and it is the time for us to say God's resources should be used for God's glory, and when God is doing something, let's get on board and do it together with him because we know it will be blessed. So that's 2/3 of the campaign goal has been met before we announce it publicly today. And then we'll continue to announce that in all of our constituency and allow others to receive the blessing of being a part of this campaign. So others of you are just learning about the campaign tonight. And you'll be given an opportunity later after Kirk Cousins speaks to respond when Amy talks to you and gives you an opportunity to respond at the end. So think of it this way. We've started a drive, and it's desperate time, and we've started on our own goal line. And we're moving down the field, and with 2/3 of the way, you can see that we may be in field goal range. But brothers and sisters, we didn't call a kicker here tonight to talk, okay? We aren't doing that. We've got a quarterback. The goal is the red zone, and after the red zone, the end zone. So we are 2/3 the way down the field, and we don't even have a kicker. We're not doing that, okay? Sorry, Jason Hansen. Is he listening right now? As we move forward, the board of Grace Christian University will make the decision in 2 weeks, when the board meets 2 weeks from today, about beginning construction with what God has supplied and the faith of moving forward and continuing to see God supply so that we continue and build and see more opportunity for more students to be able to be part of Grace Christian University. And that's not what it's about, but come into relationship with Jesus Christ in a compelling way in which they are impactful in the world today. So at this time, I know you haven't come just to hear me. I'm going to ask our Vice President, Brian Scherstedt, to join me here on the stage at this time. And as believers and followers of Jesus Christ, we have a new and different perspective on life in the world, don't we? This eternal perspective goes with us into each of our unique contexts and vocational situations. And I love to see Christ followers live out their faith and truth before others within these contexts. And tonight, we have a very special guest who does that in a unique and a very high-profile context of professional sports. And he's no stranger to West Michigan. Brian, will you assist me by introducing our guests and leading our question and answer time?